It's been 3 weeks since workers at Canada Post first started job action, going on rotating strikes, then being locked out in their fight for better wages and working conditions. Mail service across the country is at a standstill, leaving businesses in the lurch and causing financial strain for people who depend on government checks to make ends meet. The Harper government says it's time for it to end, and the House of Commons won't be starting its summer break today. Instead, working overtime until MPs can agree on a back-to-work bill that's fair. The legislation has infuriated opposition parties and the Postal Workers Union, who say if the government goes ahead with its plan and forces an end to the strike, it will be a very bad omen for labor unions across the country. Here's A News reporter Aaron Glazier with the latest.
Hundreds of Victoria postal workers that have been locked out by Canada Post rallied today as talks between the union and their employer broke down.
Focus is not on wages, and Canada Post made $7.3 billion last year in profits, and they should be keeping post office going, and we believe they're down the road, they want to privatize us.
Workers haven't cashed a paycheck since June 14th and say the Postal Service saves $21 million every week they don't work. The government says the dispute is hurting the economy, and Bill C-46, tabled by Labour Minister Lisa Raitt, would force the employees back to work at wages lower than those proposed in the last offer by Canada Post.
We used our own metric, which is what we negotiated with PSAC and what the private sector is getting, and it's the right number.
Anyone with a labor contract ought to be worried about that. If the Prime Minister thinks your wages are too high or your employer is offering you too much money, he's going to bring in legislation to roll it back.
And the issue of wage reduction in the bill had opposition MPs on fire in the House today, saying it undermines the right to collective bargaining.
When you're in good faith, you negotiate in good faith. Visor up, you take it straight on. When you're a bully, you don't respect the law, and then you get to change it on behalf of the boss who's not negotiating.
Negotiate, don't legislate.
In Ottawa, protesters occupied federal MP John Baird's constituency office in sympathy of the locked-out postal workers.
These types of attacks on labor, on working Canadians, are not to be tolerated, and we will demonstrate and continue to demonstrate so long as these actions take place by our government.
Postal workers here are worried. They say if their ability to negotiate is legislated away, the government won't stop there.
Well, I think we're the thin edge of the wedge. I think that they're going to go after everybody's benefits, and it's all bottom line. It's got nothing to do with service.
The dispute is expected to drag on well into the night, possibly even into the weekend. But once resolved, mail should start arriving at homes and businesses sometime next week. In Victoria, Aaron Glazier, A News.